Good morning. I have to agree with John in the sense of that what an amazing football game that we got to watch. Everybody knew OU was going to win the whole time. Nobody was in doubt about that, even though we were underdogs, and people were posting online pictures of underdog, in crimson. And it was funny because, your emotions were, as you were watching the game, Alabama scores, I don't know, and then OU, comes back, and then you're like, okay, we're in it, and then we're up, and you're like, not a problem at all, and then the Alabama scores, and, it's like first half's an emotional roller coaster, for OU fans. But never doubted one bit, that Stoops chokes, in bowl games or anything like that. It's funny to listen to different radio stations now after, they go and they beat somebody like Alabama, because now it's like invincible OU, they've forgotten all about the past or other bowl games. We're living, in the moment, in today. And so it's interesting to listen and to watch people when it comes to sports and these type of things. Even so much that, like you pick your team like OU, and we find out we're going to be playing Alabama, and all of a sudden for all of those people that just are diehard fans, and then for some that are just Oklahomans, Alabama just becomes this evil place. It's like, I hate Alabama. I wouldn't go through Alabama right now if you paid me. We're going to kill Alabama. We're going to crush them, and so sports just does crazy stuff to us. I didn't tell Terry before the service on purpose. So Terry, would you come up here and just help me for just a second? Welcome Terry Cole to the stage, please. Thank you, Terry Cole. Terry Cole's a ref. He refs from middle school to college ball. And so everybody has seen referees before. This is one here. And it's funny. It's funny. Sports does crazy things to us, because this is how we treat Terry on the floor, right? Like he's reffing a game, and this is how we treat him. You're so sorry. Can't you see? Really, come on. And we don't have any problems whatsoever just hurling these insults towards him, because normally he's in black and white stripes, and he's got some distance. There's a baseline there, a sideline that for some reason we feel like that nobody's crossing, like he's not coming up into the stands, and then we're not really going down there either, and so we just continue to scream and hurl these insults and tell him what kind of guy that he is, and we talk about his mother and all these different things, and whatever gives us the right to do that to him, I don't know. Have you ever thought about it? If we really treated people that way, really, you came to church and you're wearing that color with those holes in your pants. Give me a break, Terry. Really? That's, well, first of all, Terry would never come back to church here again, if we treated him that way. I just want to say something here. Oh, did he? Yeah. He was treated that way 10 minutes ago. No. So, and the other thing is, I don't know if you noticed, but Terry's a bigger guy than me. And I do not, I've watched him run, I've watched him play soccer, different stuff, and he is a fast guy that is big, And so I would never stand toe-to-toe with him and hurl insults in his face. Thank you very much, Terry. You're a great guy. I appreciate your friendship. But sports does this crazy thing to our mind that we just we go crazy at times. So we find ourselves like in a situation with Oklahoma and Alabama where we just began to despise. Our children know we despise. Our neighbors know we despise. Everybody knows that we despise those people. It runs from college football to Little League. soccer, whatever, we're involved in. Okay, and so I started thinking about this, and I watched our quarterback. Trevor Knight, an amazing game, probably a game of a lifetime, throws for unbelievable yards, and somehow pulls off this victory against Alabama. Very, very impressed as they interviewed him at the end. He's standing on the field, and the first thing he says is, I give credit to my Lord Jesus Christ to bring me to this point, blah, 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 blah. And you're thinking, oh, did I hear that right? I mean, he must be a Christian, I guess. A little bit of hesitation in your mind. You don't know really, does he really live the life? Does he, and you start questioning all that. So then, at the presentation at the end, he does it again with this other broadcaster. And he says that he just thanks the Lord Jesus Christ for bringing him to this place, to giving him this ability or whatever. And you're like, wow. He's on a national stage, and this kid must have his head on right. I mean, to be able to do that. I wish A.J. McCarron had his head on right. If he did, then maybe he would have won the game too or something. The evil, no good, whatever. But I want to show you a video of sometimes what we would call the enemy. That in our minds that we get to this point, and I think it just would change our mind about people maybe in general.
There's so much in life we can't choose. Our families, our names, our challenges. But one thing we can choose is our friends. And sometimes they're the greatest choices we make.
Someone that's there for you no matter what. It's all from the heart when it's a special bond.
It's just somebody that always accepts you and knows you and gets you no matter what you do, and they'll always, be by your side.
When you're the quarterback at Alabama with championship rings and NFL dreams, the entire state wants to be your friend. That's A.J. McCarron. That's not A.J. Starr.
When I was born, the umbilical cord got caught around my neck, and it sort of cut off some of the oxygen to my brain. And so I kind of received brain damage. I don't really look at cerebral palsy as something like to be down, but I'll just keep going.
Raised in Center, Alabama, Starr used sports as a way to belong. But by the time he entered high school, his mind worked much faster than his body.
I wanted to compete, I wanted to be out there, but due to cerebral palsy, I couldn't do it.
Starr became a fan instead of one school and one team, the Crimson Tide. He enrolled in Tuscaloosa in the summer of 2012 and would watch practice through a gap in the fence. It was his only way to connect in a place he found unfamiliar and unfriendly.
I thought I would be able to just start fresh, maybe my difference wouldn't matter, but no, it's hard to make friends when you're different.
The week before Alabama's 2012 season opener, the quarterback and the fan met by chance at a campus bus stop.
I saw the two buses pull off and leave him, so I just hopped in the car and pulled out and pulled over by him.
I just heard someone scream hey, you need a ride? Get closer, closer. I'm like, that's A.J. McCarron.
He gets in, shut the door, and we start driving off, and I'm like, I'm A.J., I play football here, and he said, I know.
We were just talking about Alabama football at first. Then we sort of was talking about cerebral palsy. Then I asked him, can I be a part of the team in any way?
He was such a good kid, and he just wanted to be around the game, learning more about him, and I felt like it was my duty to kind of do something for him.
After speaking with the team's head of operations, days later, McCarron called Star to tell him the news.
Well, we got you a job. I said, you're not getting paid, though.
I said, man, I don't want money. I just want to be a part of the team anyway.
I said, well, great. So you're going to work in the equipment room? And he was just glowing.
It's not a glamorous gig, but don't tell him that. In his second full season now, Star's responsibilities continue to grow.
They've grown more because we can't get rid of them. He's there every day. You don't even notice that anything is different about him. He's just one of the guys.
Everybody calls him the real AJ, and messes with me, which he definitely is the real AJ. I know a lot of guys love him and definitely love having him here.
There are many things in life we can't choose, but they, the quarterback and the equipment manager, AJ and AJ, they chose each other.
He saved me. I mean, I thought about just giving up because I couldn't make friends here. I couldn't be accepted.
I felt like it was a message from above for us to be friends, and it's pretty cool that two AJs definitely became friends in a way that it did.
They're all my family here. I have the biggest and best family possible. I'm probably the luckiest guy in the world right now.
Isn't it amazing when you see maybe another side of somebody's life that maybe they're not so much an enemy at all. Maybe the attitude that we have towards other teams, we just make that up or build it up in our heads. And if we got a chance to know who people were, then it might just be that we find ourselves really falling in love with who they are. Sometimes we build up our own walls, or we build up things that in our mind that we isolate people. I know I brought Terry up here and I was screaming at him and whatever, kind of as a joke, but in a sense, the way that I was treating Terry, or the way that I would treat Terry, would, in like a game situation, would sever any chances that I would have to be an actual friend with him. He would never let me treat him the way that I would sitting in a stand somewhere if he knew it was me screaming those insults and hurling those insults at him, and then after the game say, hey, I really, want to be your friend. I'd like to go out to dinner with you and your family, and I'd like to spend a little bit of time with you. And he would say, are you serious? You just called me all those names. You just did all of that to me and acted like I was a horrible person. And then in return, you still think that you're going to build a relationship with me, a friendship with me, that you're going to be able to minister to my life. And it would be probably even the right thing to do, maybe, for somebody just to turn around and walk off from that situation. Sometimes when people like A.J. McCarron driving down the road and he sees somebody that's just different, that maybe other people aren't paying attention to, he takes out this moment of time to be able to pick him up, to put him in a car, and then he could have just dropped him off somewhere. That would have been enough. A nice gesture, a nice ride. But it looks like from this video and then videos that I've seen before about A.J. McCarron that he really does have an interest in people's lives. And so he would invest in the real A.J. He would get him a job at Alabama. He would begin to invest in his life and make sure that all those other football players around him would treat him the same exact way that they would treat everybody else, that they would not take advantage of. They would not talk about, they would not scream at, they would not abuse AJ, but they would treat him with respect. And that's what's happened I think because of leadership of A.J. McCarron walking in and trying to get him a job and saying, hey, this is our equipment manager. This is what he's going to do for us. And leading that. And then building an amazing friendship with somebody that is just a little different. He's a different color. He's different physically. Two ends of the spectrum. One, an amazing athlete, and the other has a hard time just even walking. But there's got to be some common bond there. And I think a lot of times for us, that's Christianity. So in John chapter 15, verses 12 through 15, this is what Jesus says about building friendships. It says, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, that someone lays down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. No longer do I call you servants, for the servant does the work of what his master is doing. But I have called you friend. For all that I have heard from my Father, I have made known to you." Equal, shoulder to shoulder, hand in hand. I have called you friend. This is my commandment. Love one another as I have loved you. That's what Jesus has to say about friendship. That's what Jesus has to say about building relationships with people and not building up walls and severing relationships like maybe we find ourselves doing. Putting people in different areas. For instance, I hear people all the time they go down to downtown Oklahoma City and they say, "Oh, I'm not getting out. I wouldn't be friends with that bum," or "I wouldn't be around that bum," you know. And those guys that are homeless, or maybe some of them are, bums. I don't know. But we don't know the situation that's put them there. I knew one guy that was a bum, that he lived homeless, lived in and out of the Salvation Army down there. He would come into a place where we would feed once a month with a youth group that I was involved with. And at one point in his life, he was a millionaire. The guy had more money than he probably ever needed. And then he found himself addicted. He had started taking drugs. Different things had brought him to this place. An amazing guy. And then just found himself homeless. Didn't want to go home. Didn't want to go back to his parents' house. He chose just to live on the streets for whatever reason. Maybe he wasn't a bum. He was smarter than me. He was more educated than I was. He had all of these things at one point really, really going for him. And just a few mistakes in his life sent his whole world into a tailspin where he ended up in the place that he was. Maybe not just walking up and judging that as like you are less than, or you don't have as much to offer this world as maybe we do. Maybe I'm better than you because of. Maybe those attitudes that sometimes we handle or we hold need to be looked at. Jesus says, "This is a commandment. This is what I ask of you." As just the foundation of being a Christian, a foundation of being a part of the church, that you love one another as I have loved you. No greater love does a man have than he that is going to lay down his life for his friend or his brother. One version of the Bible puts it. I want us to really make sure today that when we're taking into account people and their lives, that we are looking way past maybe a physical thing. Everybody wanted to be friends with A.J. McCarron. Why? Because he could throw a rocket. I mean, he could rear back and he could throw and it would be accurate. He could run the football a little bit. He would rise up to be Alabama's amazing quarterback. Nobody in Alabama, or probably Oklahoma for that matter, would mind hanging out for a little while with somebody called A.J. McCarron. But the other A.J., as he walks down the street with difficulty, not as famous, a little bit more difficult for him to survive, And he comes to the point in his life where he said, A.J. McCarron saved me. What? What does that mean? It means that for a moment in time, somebody stopped and showed the love of Christ to him. And it made the difference in his life. Ruth chapter 1, verses 16 through 17, it says, "But Ruth said, 'Do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you. For where you go, I will go. And where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God shall be my God. And where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried.'" Listen to this. "May the Lord do so to me and more also in everything, but death part me from you." The story of Naomi and Ruth is one of loyalty. Because you have a daughter-in-law and a mother-in-law that all the men in their life have passed away. And now they're returning to a homeland that was desolate, that was without. And the daughter-in-law comes and just says that she is going to be loyal to Naomi no matter what. I mean, no matter where you go, I'm going to follow you there. I'm going to be there with you. Don't ask me anymore to separate myself from you or leave you, because your people are going to be my people and your God is going to be my God. That's the friendship that these two ladies had built one another. Sometimes we need to find ourselves being loyal in our friendships. Now, I understand completely that there are going to be times where we disagree with people. There are going to be times that you won't be able to stand things that have taken place or that are going on or whatever in your marriages, in your friendships, even with your children. But if we can step back for a minute and not build up the walls that separate us, but have those things torn down and have a Ruth and Naomi moment in the sense of saying, no matter what happens, no matter how difficult it gets in life, I'm going to invest in you because you invested in me. I have a desire to be devoted to you. That's what she's saying by this loyalty, by this verse that we read with Naomi and Ruth. I'm asking you today that you find friendships that you can be loyal in. That no matter what happens, no matter how high or how down or rocky or wonderful it gets, that you have made commitments, not just as friends, but as Christians, people that love Christ. You can say, no matter what you go through, I'm going to be there for you. A lot of you know, and I'll say this really, really quick because I hate being repetitive. I don't hate it so much that I won't be, but you know, a year or so ago, I had gotten sick, and some doctors had said some stuff to me that really looked bleak, and to be honest with you, for a moment I feared not death, because I know where I'm going after this life. I welcome that, just not now, you know. And so I remember taking friends that I trusted and that I love, and I remember their commitments to me, stating that if this gets worse, if this illness that you have, if it progresses and it gets bad, then this is what I'll do for you. And I don't know if you ever have been to that point in your life, but at this point I was there where I was thinking, you know, it doesn't matter if I live tomorrow, it just matters that my kids are taken care of tomorrow. It doesn't matter if I breathe tomorrow, it just matters that tomorrow that my wife has somebody to change light bulbs in the house when they go out. You know? And you get to that point. Well, here's the thing. Without me investing in somebody's life and without them investing into mine, there is no loyalty there. I'm so glad that you don't just take what people say about other people as the word. That you have opportunities to really get to know people and try to build those relationships on your own, so that they honestly mean something. And for these friends, it meant so much for them. So when they were able to tell me, if it gets worse for you, we will always be there for your family, no matter what. And I'm telling you, from that moment on, I was able to be able to take a deep breath and let it out. And no matter what this world brings my way as far as health goes, everything is taken care of. Because of my God and those relationships that were brought together, and because the loyalty, like a Naomi and Ruth. My God, your God, it's our God. And I will serve hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder, and I will be with you. That's how relationships have to be. Because we can't afford anymore for there to be a little tiff or something take place or something be wrong and that sever whole relationships. Now, it might make you mad, it might make you angry, it might separate you at the time, but if there's a God in heaven and He desires for us to love one another, then we have to be able to be loyal like a Naomi and Ruth, so that nothing separates us, that nothing will come between us and wedge itself in, so that the enemy can pull that relationship apart, can get a foothold in, and really maneuver and trick and deceive. Because Christ wants us to love one another like He loves us, even unto death. Loyalty. Loyalty. A.J. McCarron would walk into a huddle, and I guarantee you did not talk about A.J. Starr in a negative way on that football field. Not one time, I'll guarantee you, did somebody come in and make fun of or mock or do anything derogatory towards a man that had this disease in his body because the loyalty of somebody called A.J. McCarron. He doesn't look like so much of an enemy against the University of Oklahoma anymore to me. There's one more story I want to tell you. It's the story of David and Jonathan. David, the one that slung the rock and killed the giant. David, the one that plays the harp for Jonathan's father. His name's Saul. Saul is a man that is king at the time, and it says in the Word that the Lord allowed evil spirits to come into Saul's life. He was tormented with jealousy towards David. But there was protection that came from Jonathan when Saul was trying to kill David. 1 Samuel chapter 18, verses 1 through 3. It says, as soon as he had finished speaking to Saul, the soul of Jonathan was knit to the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. And Saul took him that day and would not let him return to his father's house. Then Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as his own soul. And all of that means that there was this friendship that Jonathan and David had, that even if Saul was trying to kill David because of jealousy, when he would come and he would play the harp and try to soothe Saul in that kingdom, and one day Saul would take a spear and he would try to kill David. Yet Jonathan, because of the friendship they had built, was still trying to protect David's life. And went through several different things of Jonathan meeting with David, just showing his loyalty and his protection so that Saul would not take David's life, because of the love that Jonathan had for David, that friendship. Protection. is what I want to talk about for just a minute. About you protecting your friendships. More than likely, we have nobody chasing us with spears today. It's not likely. If they are, you need to report that to the police immediately. But it does seem like people try to pierce you in other ways. Words hurt so bad, you know. They hurt so deeply within. They're disappointing. It's devastating to our lives because we take all of that and we put it internally, and we start, like we talked about even last week, we start believing that within inside of our lives. And so it pierces us. I hope you have friends that are around you, that you have selected, that God has selected for you, that God has put in your path, that will protect you at all costs. That will not allow other people around you, within inside the church, within inside the community, within inside the city, to be able to take your name and to run it through the mud, or to bash you for some reason, or to talk negatively about you. There's something about friendship that has to go extremely deep, to the point that you would protect at all cost. And that's what Jonathan was willing to do. By going back to his father and disclosing information and saying, surely David is innocent of all charges of anything that you would have against him. Taking an opportunity there that if Saul turned at that point, he could have even taken Jonathan's life. But Jonathan was willing to take that moment, that time, and to be able to stand and to protect the friendship that he had with David. I want to ask you today, are you that type of friend? Are you that loyal that you will do anything it takes, unto death even, for those people that are around you, and that you will be able to protect them at all costs? Because as I read through the Word of God, I see a theme that takes place and happens. I see a God that sends a Son to live on this earth, to be a true friend, loyal as can be, devoted as can be, and willing to do whatever it takes so that we can be saved from this world, from ourselves, from an enemy that attacks us, so that we can live a life that's totally guilt-free and happy. He wants that for us. I want to just run through a couple of scriptures here. Proverbs 12 and 26. It says, one who is righteous is a guide to his neighbor, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. Proverbs 13 and 20. It says, whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of a fool will suffer harm. 1 Corinthians 15 and 33. Do not be deceived. Bad company ruins good morals. According to the Bible, it really does matter who you're around. It really does matter who you hang with. It really does. Because if you surround yourself with godly people that love you so much that they'll keep you on track, that they'll be honest with you at all times, that they'll be loyal and protect you at all costs, then you're going to find yourself in a relationship that's very, very valuable. But on the other hand, if you find yourself around people that are not going to be honest with you and just tell you what you want to hear, if you find yourself around people that maybe are not giving you godly counsel, but are just giving you the counsel of their own mind, you've got some friends like that, right? That maybe aren't always right because the basis of what they say are based on their feelings. And then you get in trouble because you follow that advice and you do what they say, and all the time It was just what they felt about it. And so when you come back and you say, why did you say that to me? And they say, oh, it was just a hunch I had. You run with people like that. You run with people that are not in love with God and devoted to God and loyal to God, then your chances are slim. When it comes down to it, when you need something really, really bad, when you are down and out, when it is all over, when it is said and done, when you're like me, sitting across from a couple of friends, and you say to them, I don't know what's going to happen, and they say, I will be there for your family no matter what. And if they were not loyal to God, I would have looked at them and I would have said, maybe for the first week, maybe for the first month, maybe for the first year until you forgot, and then it would have changed, wouldn't it? Because you're not loyal to everything else, you're not protecting everything else in your life. Why would you protect my family in this? But I didn't have to think that for 1 minute because I trusted the friends that I had chosen to be there for me no matter what. You know what a relief that is in your life? To know no matter what, the people that are around you love you so much that they're willing to sacrifice their time, their money, their efforts, everything so that things would be okay. You sit in a room today full of those type of people. You have selected well today. If you say, I really feel like A.J. Starr did when he said that I didn't have any friends. It's hard when you're like me to have friends. If you feel that way this morning, then you have come to the right place. Because there are people all around you that want to call you friend. They want to be loyal to you in everything. Even when you mess it up at times, they want to be loyal to you. Things you've done in your past that you're not proud of, they want to protect you anyway. They will go to great lengths to make sure that you are taken care of. You say, how do you know that? I mean, really, can you speak for the people in this room? And I say, yes, I can. Because I know a majority really, really well. And I don't know of one person in the room that if I called, that they would say no. And whatever I asked, the answer would always be yes. Steve, you always say yes. Doesn't matter what the question is. It's his motto. He just says yes. Spain, I look at you in the back. I don't care if you're on some pipeline in wherever. If I call and say, I need you today, there is not a doubt in my mind Spain is not on my doorstep as soon as he can be there. Not one doubt. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. You know why that is? It's because God brought us together, and because we're loyal to one another, we protect one another. And we found out that if we love one another as Christ has loved us, there is no greater love that we can have. And so if you sit here today and you say, I feel like I'm on the outskirts, or I'm having a hard time finding that, today's your day, because you're invited to be a part of that friendship. Here's what I want to do this morning. I want to pray with you just where you're at. And these people that are around you are going to do the same. So if you just close your eyes for just a moment, and I want you to let me know so that I can pray for you this week, and so that I'm just aware that friendship is important to you. You need that friendship right now. If I was talking and you just said, that's how I feel like nobody notices me, and I need for somebody to drive by and to be able to pick me up, be able to put me in a car and give me a place to be and some ownership, and just make sure that my life is going to be okay, because without God, it's not going to be. If that's you today, would you just raise your hand where I know today and I can pray for you? Anybody in the room today, you just say, that's me. Thank you. Thank you. Several hands are going up in the room. I just want to let you know today, you have the most amazing friend in God. You can count on Him day after day after day. And second to that, you have these people in this church that want the best for you no matter what.
We've had such a good time, it's gone by way too fast. A friend loves at all times, can't wait to see you back. While you are away, we'll have you on our minds. We'd love to have you stay, but until next time. So long, I'm gonna miss you when you're gone. With this love you can't go wrong. We'll be here to help you along. So long, you can thank your dad and mom. Clap your hands and sing this song. Until next time we'll say so long.
What do you like about Joyce and John?
My favorite thing about Joyce is she's always friendly to everybody.
My favorite thing about Joyce is how nice she was.
My favorite thing about Joyce is how nice and everything she was.
I like them whenever they teach us about God.
She's just awesome.
One thing I like about Joyce is she's very caring.
I like when the one we have to learn about God.
Joyce is a very compassionate person, I think, and she's super loving.
That I like about Joyce is at her parties.
I love her and the power that God gave to me, the love.
One thing I like about Joyce and John is that they love me and they love everybody else.
My favorite thing about Joyce and John is that they're loving and they're fun and they're awesome.
They love me.
You can thank your dad and mom. Clap your hands and sing this song. Until next time we'll say so long. Love one another just as He's loved you. Keep His promise close and you'll know that it's the truth. Can't think of a better way to spend our day. We won't say goodbye, but for now we'll say so long. We're gonna miss you when you're gone. With His love you can't go wrong. We'll be here to help you along. So long, you can thank your dad and mom. Clap your hands and sing this song. Until next time we'll say na 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 So long, we're gonna miss you when you're gone. With His love you can't go wrong. We'll be here to help you along. So long, we'll thank your dad and mom. Clap your hands and sing this song. Until next time we'll say so long. We're gonna miss you when you're gone. With His love you can't go wrong. We'll be here to help you along. So long, you can thank your dad and mom. Clap your hands and sing this song. Until next time we'll say na 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 na. Good times after good times. A friend loves at all times. So long, yeah.
If Joyce and John both, yeah, go ahead. If you guys would come up for just a second. Good deal. I'll tell you what, hard day in the sense of it seems like something so final. I heard this song this morning. You guys, go ahead. I heard the song, so long, and I was thinking, where are you going? I was so, yeah. And the greatest thing in them redirecting their ministry is that they're not going anywhere. They are right here. And matter of fact, the adults, you'll get to see them on Sunday mornings now, and those friendships that they get to build with you even greater than even now because of the participation here in what they call big church. We just call it church. So you're coming over to our side, Yeah. So, but anyway, I just want you to know as parents, in some instances where ministers leave, there's kind of a severed time there, or something like they're going off somewhere and leaving, and never is there going to be contact with your kids again, and it's just. But in this case, as we talked with Joyce and John, if you give them schedules, they're still going to come to your games. They're always available to minister to you and your family. And so that's very, very kind of them to be able to continue to offer that ministry inside of our church. So, for 7 years, you has been our children's pastor. That's a long, long time. And what a wonderful job they have done in that ministry, growing it just from nothing. They started out where the cafe is now. There was a wall there.
Started in the office.
Started in the office, that's right, which is even, it's half that size. And they moved to this, where the cafe was, there was a wall there, and then they were back in what's kind of a storage room now, and then they progressed and moved over to a larger facility. Once we gave them a facility to meet in, then it was really, really going. But we basically gave them a 10 by 10 room most of the time, and made them do children's ministry with inside of it. But they've done an amazing job, and obviously by the words of the kids that we've seen on the video, you've seen the theme, right? It was just, they love me, they love me, they love me, they love me. And you have influenced kids beyond belief that have grown up already and are still continuing to serve God. And the kids that are here today, because of the basis that you add to parents, the scriptures and the memory verses and the lessons that parents are able to build upon, it just makes such a difference. So this doesn't even remotely tell you I appreciate you as a church, but we did get you a card and a gift certificate so that you can go out and spend that wherever you would like. And then, John, we got you a gift certificate to Fort Thunder, and so you can go out and you can spend it right there at Fort Thunder. It's the only place they inform me you can spend this Harley gift certificate, but go buy you some T-shirts or something for your bike or something like that, just from appreciation from our church to you guys for serving here. I want you to make sure that you take an opportunity as the service wraps up, that you personally, as parents and individuals, that you just tell Joyce and John how much that you really do care for them, and that you love what they've done for our church to this point. And then, like I said, they're not going anywhere. You'll see them next Sunday. So there's not been a death in the family. It's all still good. So, do you want to say anything without crying, or?
I'll do my best without crying.
Okay, I'm going to stand close for you. You can use my microphone.
I just want to say what an honor it's been. Like you said, when we started, it was Katie Alvarez and Jennifer and Hannah, and you're going to cry, Colby and Tyler. And so, those kids are now high school, a lot of them, and so
makes you old.
It does make me old. But, that's we taught Brian Lee, all those years ago at another church. So it's been a long time. John and I have been in children's ministry our entire married life, just about. And so it's going to be a new, we're going to embark on new territory here to be sitting in big church. So we might be crying a little bit. So.
Somebody invite them to sit with you next week so they have a place.
Good sermon, because we might need a friend in here.
Yeah.
We do love the kids in this church, and like he said, we are still very willing. We want to be at your games, and anything you do at school, we're very willing to be there and do that. We want to continue to be a part of your lives, and we love you all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's get them.